Kevin Stefanski has confirmed Dillon Gabriel will be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. This specific press conference right here, because this is when we was going to find out what was going to happen with Shedeur Sanders, what was going to happen with Deshaun Watson, and I'm here to tell you, we got some answers, man, and let the week begin, because Shedeur ain't even practicing right now. Kevin Stefanski is telling the world that Shedeur is still dealing with this back injury. Now, Shedeur did return back to Boulder, Colorado over the weekend. Now, he stated he was getting some rehab.
So apparently, Kevin Stefanski just dropped the biggest bombshell of the season. And no, it's not about playbooks or penalties. He basically admitted that Shedeur Sanders isn't playing, and Dillon Gabriel is the new golden boy. Yeah, Cleveland just turned into a football soap opera. Is this genius strategy or pure chaos in disguise? Because whatever this is, it's wild. Buckle up, because the meltdown is just getting messier.
If I can ask a super quick follow-up on that, why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
Stop asking these questions. Y'all know this man don't want to play Shedeur.
You know that, people, we know that. And people,
Yeah.
I see people, in the chat, not in the chat, but just in general, when we talk about the Cleveland Browns, they talk about,
Yes.
damn, what's the word? When they don't like someone and they doing them wrong. I forgot the word to use. But listen, we already know what the play was.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. The moment the press conference started, you could already feel it. That special Cleveland kind of tension. The one that says something ridiculous is about to happen. All week long, everyone's been waiting for this moment like it was the Super Bowl of confusion. Finally, Kevin Stefanski walks up to the mic, and you can tell from his face that chaos is coming.
Deion Sanders Jr. did drop a video of Shedeur working out with trainer Lauren up in Colorado. So maybe Shedeur is having troubles with his back. I'm not going to deny that. I'm saying that is facts. Now, we thought that, some way, somehow Shedeur was going to play. I'm here to tell you, he's not going to play this week, guys. Judging off the tone of what Kevin Stefanski said, Shedeur's not playing. Now, another thing I thought was going to happen was Deshaun Watson going to be activated. I'm here to tell you, Deshaun Watson is not going to be deactivated.
This was supposed to be the big reveal, the Shedeur update, the Deshaun Reedham option, that we're finally figuring it out moment. But no, what we got was Cleveland turning a press conference into a full-blown sitcom. Right out of the gate, Stefanski starts explaining the Shedeur situation like a man trying to convince his kid's teacher that the dog ate his homework.
Stefanski had his press conference today and a very interesting back and forth with Mary Kay Cabot. She asked him some questions about Shedeur Sanders and the back tightness that held him out of yesterday's game. And some of the nuggets in there were quite interesting, if you ask me. So she said Shedeur mentioned in the locker room yesterday, either before or after the game, that it wasn't his decision not to be active in the game yesterday. Now, I know that's not always a big deal, because obviously it is the medical staff and the coaching decision whether or not a player is going to be active and all that kind of stuff. But for the player to actually voice that's...
Apparently, Shedeur Sanders isn't just out. He's out. Not practicing, not playing, not even pretending to warm up. He's dealing with a back injury that's now more famous than half the Browns' offensive line. And you could feel the energy in the room just collapse.
Hey, I want to play. I can play. I mean, would that have factored into this at all? Or what was the thinking behind that, and how'd that go?
Yeah, he obviously came in Saturday with his back injury. We were hopeful that he'd be able to move around well enough to suit up on Sunday, but put him through a pregame warm-up, and obviously just didn't feel like he was ready to play, Mary Kay. But he's getting better every day, and I'm hopeful that he'll continue to improve.
It's like everyone collectively realized, oh, we're doing this again. Another week, another injury update, another round of trust the process speeches from the man who hasn't trusted a healthy quarterback since 2019. Now, here's where it gets wild. Shedeur apparently went back to Boulder, Colorado, because when things go bad in Cleveland, you escape to anywhere that's not Cleveland. Word is he's doing rehab, working with some trainer named Lauren, getting his back right. And sure, maybe that's true. But at this point, Cleveland fans would believe anything. If Stefanski said Shedeur's back needed time to reconnect spiritually, half the locker room would start burning. Stefanski said he's getting better, which in Cleveland speak means he's alive, but don't expect miracles. This team has a PhD in vague optimism. Every injury update sounds like a mystery novel. But then Stefanski drops the real bombshell. The tone, the hesitation, that little pause before he speaks. You can just feel it. Shedeur isn't playing. Not this week. Maybe not next week. Maybe not till the Browns figure out what offense they're even running. And just when you think it can't get more confusing, here comes the Deshaun Watson section of the press conference. So
himself felt the need to express that it was not his decision to be inactive for the game. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I thought that was interesting because she then follows it up with, if Shedeur had come to you guys and said, hey, I want to play, I can play, would that have factored into this at all, or what was the thinking behind it? And Kevin answered like this. He said, yeah, he obviously came in Saturday with his back injury. We were hopeful that he'd be able to move around well enough to suit up on Sunday, but put him through a pregame warm-up and obviously just didn't feel like he was ready to play, Mary Kay. And here's where the interesting nugget comes in. He says, but he's getting better every day, and I'm hopeful.
So now, in true Browns fashion, we've got one quarterback who can't move his back, another who can't seem to reappear, and a coach who sounds like he's auditioning for a political press secretary job. But wait, the plot thickens, because Stefanski wasn't done. Nope. He decides to casually announce that he's handing over play-calling duties to Tommy Rees. Just like that. Middle of the press conference, middle of the drama, boom. Yeah, Tommy's calling plays now. Turns out, surprise, that was a lie. Apparently, he's been holding on to it like a toddler with a toy car. Now, finally, he's letting it go. Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator who probably didn't even see this coming, is suddenly in charge of fixing the Browns' offensive disaster. It's like being handed the Titanic and told, you got this, right? And the way Stefanski explained it made it even funnier. Meanwhile, the locker room has to pretend this is totally normal. You've got players nodding like, yeah, sure, we totally knew this was happening. No, you didn't. Nobody did. Half the team probably found out on Twitter 5 minutes later. But
even when they come and say things about Shedeur Sanders, all you have to do is say, look, I get it. Shedeur has a very, big personality and he's known globally, right? But I know Shedeur Sanders as a person, and as what I see here. He works hard, he's intelligent, he puts the work in, he's humble, he's a great teammate, and all of those things, I hope you guys get an opportunity to see that eventually when he gets on the field. And guess what? It would diffuse all bad articles and people would go away. But since you won't say his name, the vultures circle.
But here's the thing. When Stefanski gave up those plays, he didn't just hand over responsibility. He basically admitted that nothing's working. That's the Browns' version of waving a white flag, except instead of surrendering, they just hand the flag to someone else and call it strategy. And it's not like the rest of the team is helping. Meanwhile, Cleveland's quarterbacks are collecting MRIs like trading cards. You could tell the reporters wanted to ask Stefanski about Flacco. The Browns let go of a veteran who's now lighting up the league, while they're stuck juggling 3 quarterbacks, one hurt, one invisible, and one who doesn't even know he's starting yet. Because here's the kicker. Rumor has it Dillon Gabriel might be the starter. Yes, Dillon Gabriel, the guy who just arrived and somehow walked into this quarterback dumpster fire and found himself at the top of the depth chart. It's like winning a raffle you didn't even enter. Now, Dillon's talented, no question. But the idea that he's stepping into this chaos feels like someone walking into a burning building holding a bucket of Gatorade. Good luck, kid. It's your show now.
If Dillon Gabriel plays poorly against the Jets, I think that's out. He's gonna be stripped of them powers. Because what you're telling me is that you had 2 weeks to prepare him. You can bring him over for dinner, go over all the plays. You guys can watch, getting your DVR together, watch Grey's Anatomy, reruns of a House, or whatever you're gonna do, The Office, and you guys can get together and have the best.
And the way Stefanski announced it, or rather didn't announce it, makes it even better. He didn't say it directly. He just implied it, like he wanted everyone to guess. That's the Browns' new strategy, mystery. No one knows who's starting, not even the starter. It's all about the element of confusion. So let's recap. Shedeur's back is still on vacation. Deshaun's ghosting the team, and Tommy Rees is suddenly play caller-in-chief while Dylan Gabriel quietly sharpens his helmet. Oh, and Joe Flacco's out there reminding everyone what competence looks like. Beautiful. The press conference Q&A was the cherry on top. You could practically hear the collective sigh in that room. Everyone realized that no one, not even the head coach, really knows what's happening. It's like the Browns are operating on improv rules now. Just make it up and hope for the best.
Oh, Joe, what are we doing? It's already been reported that Bailey Zappi was taking a lot of the practice squad snaps.
Kevin Stefanski is really enjoying this moment. Kevin Stefanski is making the Browns organization basically Jerry Springer. He's making a mockery of the situation and enjoying it. Just announce the goddamn quarterback. Who's quarterback number 2? Why are we playing these goddamn mind games?
The report said Bailey Zappi was getting the practice squad. They signed him off somebody else's team and put him on their practice squad. He comes in, are taking reps that Shedeur should be getting. So with that being said, I understood the assignment.
Of course, you haven't played your best football yet. You haven't played any football worth remembering. Every answer he gave somehow made things murkier. We're confident in our guys. Which ones, coach? The ones with working spines or the ones in the rehab room? We like our skill positions. Sure, but it's hard to use them when your offense looks allergic to touchdowns. Even when asked about Jerry Jeudy, Stefanski promised to get him more involved. More involved in what exactly? The chaos? The confusion? The injury list? It's a masterpiece of misdirection. Every time he talks, it sounds like he's reading from a script written by someone who's never seen a football game, but really loves corporate buzzwords. We're staying focused. We're building confidence. We're creating opportunities. Translation. We're spinning in circles, but we look good doing it. The funniest part? He actually mentioned the Jets game like it's some kind of opportunity. Sure, coach, maybe it's an opportunity for disaster. With a new play caller, a backup to the backup quarterback, and a locker room trying to decode your riddles. What could possibly go wrong? By the end of that press conference, you could practically feel the exhaustion. Reporters closing their laptops, players avoiding eye contact, and Stefanski pretending everything's fine like a dad insisting the family road trip isn't falling apart. The Browns' situation has reached that beautiful level of dysfunction, where everything is so bad. It's entertaining. It's
You got 2 weeks in a bye week. If you can't get none of this off, the powers of the Black Panther has now been stripped away. Exactly. That's why I got popcorn. I'm just chilling. I'm just reminding y'all what y'all said. Now, by the way, don't get mad at little old me. I was there when you said all this stuff. And by the way, I rebutted in real time. I ain't sit here and say, no, hold on now. I rebutted in real time. You got to accept the receipts of integrity.
It's not even tragedy anymore. It's performance art. You have to give Stefanski credit for commitment, though. It takes real skill to say so much and explain absolutely nothing. Every sentence is like a fog machine. Plenty of smoke, zero clarity. And the locker room? Oh, you know it's awkward in there. Players stretching in silence, trainers whispering about who's actually playing. And somewhere in the back, Dylan Gabriel is probably wondering if anyone's going to officially tell him he's starting. Meanwhile, Shedeur's probably in Boulder watching the press conference like, they said what now? Deshaun's somewhere out of signal range, and Stefanski's probably already planning his next press conference apology tour. If there's one thing consistent about Cleveland, it's that inconsistency is the brand. They can't just have a normal injury report. It has to be an event. They can't just name a starter. It has to be a suspense thriller. So here's where things stand. The coach gave up play calling. The quarterbacks are dropping like flies. And the team's identity is somewhere between confused and concerned. And if it all falls apart, well, he'll say it was all part of the plan to build resilience.
Class is starting to percolate. Mason Graham with the 5th overall pick. He can play. He's a stud. And then Carson Schwessinger out at UCLA.
Yeah, linebacker. Good player.
He just might be the defensive rookie of the year. And Quinshon Judkins, I'm looking at what he's done in his 3 games. 94 yards, 82 yards, 110 yards. He can tote the rock. Then Harold Fannin Jr., all he does is just get open at tight end. He was their 3rd round pick. So it scares me because Stefanski is going to fight for his life and his job and his draft pick, a 3rd round pick in Dillon. It tears my guts out to watch what's happening to Shedeur with a chance. This is on a silver platter for somebody to take the reins. So I'm not loving this for Shedeur unless Jimmy Haslam just steps in and says, okay, that's enough. We have to give the people.
The Browns have somehow mastered the art of turning dysfunction into tradition. Every season, the same pattern. High hopes, injuries, weird announcements, random quarterback rotations, and a head coach who could make a TED Talk out of bad news. The man just got here, probably still learning everyone's names, and now he's expected to lead an offense that doesn't even know who's calling the plays. It's like showing up late to a group project and finding out you're presenting. The funniest part? This could actually work. Somehow in the madness, maybe Dillon Gabriel steps up. Maybe Tommy Rees calls a good game. Maybe Stefanski sits back and accidentally discovers peace. But then again, this is Cleveland. If it can go wrong, it usually will, spectacularly. So buckle up, because the Browns' season isn't over. It's just beginning its comedy phase. The quarterbacks are falling, the coach is fumbling, and every press conference feels like an episode of The Office set in a locker room. Maybe next week we'll finally get clarity. Maybe Shedeur's back heals overnight, Deshaun reappears from the void, and Tommy Rees becomes the next offensive genius. Or maybe, and this is far more likely, the Browns find a new way to confuse everyone again. Whatever happens, one thing's guaranteed. Cleveland will keep us entertained, because while other teams are out here chasing championships, the Browns are perfecting chaos. And honestly, they're undefeated at that. And
say the Browns start actually winning a couple games. Now, Stefanski, you got to get fired. Because imagine a world where your quarterback is better than you. Imagine a world where your quarterback is more desired than you. The fan base already gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. The world gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. Does he have his haters? Absolutely. But jersey sales gravitate towards Shedeur Sanders. There's not a world now where Shedeur can go ball and Kevin Stefanski can continue to be the coach. Because if I'm Shedeur and I start balling, hell nah, I don't want this dude as my coach. Because he didn't believe in me in the first place. And how can Kevin Stefanski now, Shady, try to turn his tune and act like he's a Shedeur?
And that's where the whole thing turned into a halftime comedy special disguised as a press conference. Stefanski sitting there, pretending this was all part of a carefully thought out plan, when in reality, it's the football version of a group project where everyone showed up with different PowerPoints. He's out here trying to convince the reporters that Dillon Gabriel is the guy, while his eyes keep glancing toward the door like Shedeur might suddenly walk in and save him from his own words. You could almost hear the equipment manager in the background, because let's be honest, this team's morale is held together by caffeine, confusion, and one inspirational quote taped crookedly above the laundry bins. The players in the locker room are acting like it's a reality show now. You've got defensive guys gossiping like contestants trying to predict who's getting eliminated next. The rookies are texting their agents, asking if starter by default counts as a bonus clause. And the funniest part? Stefanski keeps preaching stability like it's a motivational mantra. But every time he says it, something else destabilizes. First, it was Deshaun's shoulder. Then it was Shedeur's absence.